Well, thank you. Now, I have to admit, I'm not particularly well prepared for this segment. I didn't get so far as thinking through what I was going to close on. I was hoping something would kind of just come up. Maybe there's some things out there. Now, I think Dr. Craig is overstating his case a fair bit on some points. Now, what I pointed out about this issue of what goodness happens to mean, I'm not concerned that God maybe doesn't wish us to be happy or doesn't have an overall objective of making us happy. What I claimed was goodness should seek to eliminate evil so much as possible. And what's at question here is whether or not there's any excessive evil in the cosmos. Now, it seems to me Dr. Craig is staking his claim on the supposition that God has a plan out there somewhere. But as a matter of fact, unless we see that plan, we still have a problem of evil. It's not quite good enough to suppose that there is a good reason behind all the evil we see, such that then the atheist really has to come up with something fancy. I think there's actually a pretty straightforward thing that we can come up with. Rather than evil at the free will at the cost of evil, or character development at the cost of evil, why create it all? Why did God need a cosmos? Now, there's a part in there about the wonderful goodness of knowing God. Well, obviously, as an atheist, I'm a little skeptical about what exactly makes that a good. Perhaps it's an instance of saying it making it so. I don't know. So I'm a little skeptical that he's really proven as much as he thinks he has, and that I've failed utterly as he thinks I have. There are many, many other arguments out there on the problem of evil. And once again, as I'd suggested on the issue of creation of these worlds, I'd pointed out there's no contradiction whatsoever between having free will and having all good choices. Now, that's something that Dr. Craig hasn't replied to. I was wondering what exactly his view might be there. Now, it brought up the issue of objective morality here and how we might get to something that's actually outside of human ken or something that transcends human ken. I don't quite see why we can't say that the Holocaust was an evil thing if God doesn't exist. I mean, honestly, having never known anything of God, I'm a lifelong atheist. I'm still quite committed to the evil of genocide being evil. I have no problem with asserting the evil of that. I have no problem asserting the evil of a wide variety of things. So where does my morality come from? Well, it seems to me quite plain that my morality comes from where it comes from for everyone else here. It comes from the cultures that we've grown up in. It comes from our parents. It comes from our societies. Now, I think once you've tracked the connection between society and morality, I'm not sure what the role for God ought to be there. I'm still unconvinced that there is some kind of support ontologically for morality out of God's existence. Now, Dr. Craig claims that God is a paradigm of morality, but I think that really can't be so. Because if that were so, well, thinking about the meter stick in France that is the paradigm of meters, one thing you can't say about that stick is that it's 1 meter long. Why can't you say that? Well, what are you going to measure it with exactly? Are you going to pull out your dusty old grade 3 meter stick and hold it up against the paradigm meter stick and say, nope, it's a little bit short? No, that's not going to work. So you can't measure, strictly speaking, the paradigm of the meter stick. And if God happens to be the paradigm of morality, well, we can't say he's good. But that's one of the standard claims, isn't it? So God couldn't be the paradigm of morality and without some odd consequences there. Sorry, what's my time like? Okay, well, rather than fight for something in my notes that might look like a good point, I think I'll call it quits. Thank you very much for putting up with a whole bunch of philosophy tonight.